YouTube? Today we are in Ghana and we're doing a tour of the last baths, the last river that the slaves took before they left. And these are just some of the pictures they have on the outside. Punishment. This is branding of captives. This is a picture of the last bath. And you have the merchant and his slaves. This is just ridiculous. So, gotta put on my mask and let's go. I'm putting a mask.
This is so are we okay ready? So Asin that you have visited is an account way, right? Which means travelers or persons passing through. So according to oral history, majority of us that formed this community were some of the captives who managed to escape. But because we didn't know how to return to wherever we were captured, we formed parts of this community. So our ancestors and our granny always have a saying that they were in the same chains and shackles together with our brothers and sisters who lost their lives. They saw them being killed, they saw some being drowned, and they saw some be fed upon by wild animals. They were able to escape here in order to tell their story from this end. They also saw some of their brothers and sisters who were taken, but they didn't know where those people were taken to. Until later, history made them know that they were taken to the New World. Just like my brothers and sisters in the diaspora always ask this question. When they come and they visit Ghana and they realize how beautiful we are with you, sometimes they become confused and they ask themselves that if you love us so much as you do, as you say, then why do you have to sell us? Yes, and it's a very legitimate concern, and it's a very important question as well. But whenever that question is being posed to me, I always tell them, let me take you back to the trade. During the transatlantic slave trade, children told their parents, Mom, Dad, we're just going across the field and play. Dad and Mom said, oh, you can go, but come home early. Mom waited for days, months, years, and those children never returned. Mothers told their families, please, Daddy, I want to prepare you dinner tonight. So I'm going to buy some foodstuffs so that I could prepare you dinner. Daddy and children were starving, waiting for Mom to return in order for them to have something to feed. So this fate happened to so many of us. So I tell them equally, we do have Africans living in Africa who are still searching for their lost children. So whenever we have you coming, we say to ourselves, indeed, this is our lost children that has been found. So the land is always ready to acknowledge its lost children coming home to them. The land that we are standing now is a very sacred ground because all our ancestors who lost their lives in here were buried everywhere here all the way to the river. So that is why you could see me not wearing shoes, because I cannot and will not walk on this land without getting the power and strength of that land, because I know that our ancestors are always connected to us. It is us who have to just walk with them and we get to our destination. Now, when you come in here, I can't go through a tour with you without prayers. But my prayer, it's the same prayer that you do. You call it to my Omi, and you pour it on the ground. But for me, I don't say Omi, because Omi is nothing. Our ancestors have names. We should be able to mention the names of our ancestors so that our kids will learn from them. When you pray and you mention names, your kid will ask you, Mom, you mentioned this name, who is he? That is when we can tell them how proud we are to call them our ancestors. So what we're going to do is this. Your ancestors should not necessarily be Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, and all the ones. No. Maybe you have somebody or you knew somebody who was so close, who was so special to you. That person did so much for you, both in terms of physicality and spirituality. That person was there for you. But today, that person is no more. You have
Yeah. Yeah.
Haywood Barber
Yeah.
Deborah Green,
Yeah.
Brenda Johnson,
Yeah.
Robert Williams,
Yeah.
Pauline Pascal.
Yeah. So now he's putting marks on everyone. This is everybody's marks is different. And this is to help have a specific message to the ancestors of it by yourself.
These are just for ladies because we believe that in here we always have a saying that the man is the head of the family. But which part do you think the ladies are?
Heart.
No.
The water?
No.
The head maker.
No. Which part do you think you are?
Be the whole thing.
Oh, come on. You can't get the whole thing like that. I said in here we always say the man is the head of the house. And which part do you think the women are?
The heart.
No.
The
This,
hands.
No.
the stomach, the feet.
Please, you don't say anything. Okay, I'll make it very simple for you. Right? No. The brain is part of the head. So we say the women are the neck. Yes. And it is the neck that tells what the head should do. So if the head is rotten, don't blame the head. You blame the neck. Because the neck didn't know how to use it in order to control the head. So we believe that you are very, very, very powerful. So you use your power to have influence on us. But if you don't use your power on us and we go astray, don't blame us, blame yourself. That is it. So you are very powerful. But our road, it was seen as a slave market. Not just a slave market, but the busiest of all slave markets in Ghana. Two markets were the ones that played the most important role. We have the Salaga market, which is at the northern part of Ghana, and Asen Manso in here, closer to the Cape Coast dungeons than most of the castles. Now, captives, mostly prisoners of war, that were captured from the upper borders of the country, like some parts of Burkina Faso, some parts of Ivory Coast, some parts of Nigeria, and everywhere in the northern sector. Everywhere you were captured, your first destination was at the Salaga market.
Salaga.
Market, yes. So in the Salaga market, you were given something small to drink, and you were given something small to eat, because they knew that from Salaga to Asin Manso is going to be a journey of miracles. Only the survivor, only the strongest will survive.
Mm.
So after the food, our ancestors were made to walk.
Is that on purpose that they made them walk on such little food to determine, like weed out the weak ones?
Yeah, they were in the interiors, and the trade is along the coast. So you have to, wherever you are, you have to make sure you come to the coast. And the route that leads from the north, it passes through Kumasi to Cape Coast. So those people were made to walk everywhere they were captured. So from Salaga to Asin Manso, it was documented to be 300 miles. That they did walk in chains and shackles, barefooted and half naked.
Oh my.
Yes, whilst they were marching they were also marching through the forest beds of the country. So majority of them were exposed to many dangers. Some of them were bitten by snakes, others were attacked by wild animals, others had penetrated cruelty from the slave raiders. My granny told me some history. He said when they were coming through the forest. He said when they were coming through the forest, this animal were just feeding on them. So when the lion meets them, they feed on them, and the animals were just killing a lot of them. So the raiders knew that the numbers were coming down. So they decided to have a plan in order to save the few. So what they did was when they were walking, and they found out 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or what's normal of our brothers and sisters were weak and could not continue the journey, they were not killed. They were rather taken out of their chains and shackles, tied around any big tree they find in the forest. So they were used as bait in order to negotiate their way through the forest to ascend Manso. Upon getting to ascend Manso, they met a river called the Accra River. When you go to Kumasi from here, it's 20 miles from here. For me, I said to myself, maybe when they saw the river, they would say to themselves, at least those of us who are very thirsty could have even fed some of the water or to drink. Or those of us that are very tired, we could have even put some around our bodies. Although the journey is of uncertainty, but at least we have life today. But when I read further on the river, it wasn't where you have to drink from. The only people that drank from the river was the people that drowned in the river. So when they got to the river, that was where their first sorting out took place. So at the riverside, you are weaker, you are stronger. You are the weakest and you are the strongest. The one that is the weakest of them, a cannonball as bigger a size of a football, is connected to their shackles, and they were thrown in the river to drown and die. So we, the people of Ascend Manso, every 31st July, every night of 31st July, we always go to that river at night to observe a vigil and mourn our ancestors, because we were in the same chains and shackles with them. We always say that we never survived because we were braver and stronger. No, we survived because those of our ancestors who lost their lives along the way came together in the spirit realms in order to support us, for us to live and live one more day. So when we landed here at Ascend Manso, this was where our ancestors were made to take their lives back, go through their first auction, and also went through their first branding. Now, little did they know that the last bath that our ancestors were given in here is a very important picture for us, because our ancestors left so much of their power and strength in that river. So in that river there, we do go through a lot of rituals in that river. But I don't do rituals. The reason why I don't do rituals is unless you give me prior notice before I could take you through that rituals. But I'll be telling you things that we do, because I have to have some perfume, I have to have some leaves and other things in order to go through that ritual, which I don't have it here now. So those that were not able to go through the stages, for them, they were killed and they were buried everywhere here. But those that were able to go through, their next destination was either at the Cape Coast dungeons, Fort Amsterdam, or Elmina dungeons in order to await the slave ship. Now, in the slave castle or slave dungeons, I don't want to tell you things that they endure, because I don't want to take the wind out of the sails of the tour guide in there. But when you go in there, you're going to see for yourself. When the slave ship is in, our ancestors, I don't know why, on top of all slave forts and dungeons in Ghana, on top of the male dungeons, there is a church. Because the same trade was proposed by one Portuguese priest in the person of Bartolomeu de las Casas.
It's a church, and it's a Portuguese church. You'll see when you go.
Bartolomeu de las Casas.
And he envisioned this
Yes,
trade?
he was the one that pushed that they should start selling us.
Yep.
Yes, it's a Portuguese priest.
You'll see when we go inside. It's the Portuguese priest.
Yes.
The church is ridiculous.
And that is why when they came in here, they also continued with it by building churches on top of the male dungeon. But sometimes it's another thought. So in the slave dungeon, you wait for 4 to 5 months for the slave ship to arrive. Now, when the slave ship arrived, our ancestors were made to walk through an underground tunnel in the dungeons, going through a particular door onto the slave ship. They believe our culture and traditions as Africans is off, but I'm very excited. It's still on in here. So today, our brothers and sisters are conscious enough coming back to their roots as when they love to return. So that door of no return at the Cape Coast dungeons is not our thing any longer. It needs to be changed to the door of return, because all of you are coming home. And the question is, how do we do that? That is why, as you can see in our ancestral graveyard, we have the mortal remains of our
The shade is nice though.
we don't put them in blue. We have the mortal remains of our two great ancestors. Yeah, I'm sure one of our ancestors is calling you, so you bring the phone. Never mind. So we have in our ancestral graveyard the two mortal remains of our ancestors. Madame Cresta, she was from Kingston, Jamaica, and Samuel Carson from New York, US of A. Madame Cresta was a young beautiful lady who was captured, but landed up in Jamaica as a slave African. While she was in prison, she saw all the pain that was meted on us. She decided to do something in order to stop it. But what can she do? She was in chains and shackles. Instead, she decided to rebel against the act by starving herself to death. Doing so, she endured so much punishment. But one of the punishments that broke the camel's back was when she had her teeth all chiseled out in an attempt to force her to feed. Despite going through all that pain, she stood firm, and in 1830 she couldn't stand it any longer, and she lost her life. We have the descendant visiting every year just to perform some rituals. Even they were here on the 3rd of January, and we had a tour.
My birthday.
Yeah, wow. Yes, and we had a tour. We started a tour around 12 a.m. midnight, and it will close around 4 a.m. So when you go to the river, you see the ashes of the bonfire. Yes, they always come in here for spiritual tours to say thank you to Madame Cresta. Samuel Carson is the first African American to rise to the highest rank in the U.S. Navy. Died at the age of 35 years, but he was not given a befitting burial. So the two mortal remains re-entered the country on the 31st day of 1998 through the infamous door of no return at the Cape Coast dungeons, and the name was changed to the door of return. Immediately they passed through that door was made bigger, symbolically, to usher all our brothers and sisters back home. Now in 2019, during the Year of Return celebration, the president extended on that we've missed you, so you have to come home. Now the people of Barbados decided to come home in a different way. Their Prime Minister, Excellency Mia Motley, she said she cannot come here alone. She has to come here with their ancestors together. So she excavated most of the slave cemetery in Barbados. Every bone that she had, she put in a beautiful casket all the way from Barbados, and they were buried right here at Aston Manso. The reason why they were buried in here is because we want to bring all our ancestors together in one place, because those that lost their lives are buried here, and the other group should also come and join. Now, the other group also decided that we have our ashes of our beloved who also wish to be buried in here. So what can we do for them? We told that the place is too small to accommodate all of us. But later, we agreed that this land will be reserved for those of our brothers and sisters who have their bodies incubated, so they will have their ashes on this land. So we do have over 400, and even last 2 days, we have over 3 of them having their ashes on this land. The trade itself was abolished in 1807, and it took effect in 1808 for the abolishment of the trade, but not slavery.
Yes.
Slavery, when I look in the books, they told me in the US of A was in 1865, in the French colony was 1846, British colony 1835, Brazil 1888. But for me, I don't know what they are telling me, because I don't believe slavery has been abolished. It has rather evolved to a new form that you and I are dealing, and it is more heavier than the one in chains and shackles. Now, thank you. Now we have moved. It's more heavier or stronger than even what we went through, because now it is more of slavery, enslaving our minds than whatever you could think of. And that is one thing that whenever I see my brothers in locks, I always say to myself, wow, we still have conscious people out there who should know more about why they keep their locks and how important they are. That is why my prophet said, you must put yourself from mental slavery. None other than yourself can free your mind. So basically in here, we go through rituals of consciousness in order to bring us back to the light. When I tell you about the importance of the hair that you carry, we are not going to finish the tour now. It is very, very, very powerful. Even their Bible could not frown its face on it. The Bible told the truth about the hair that you carry. But don't worry, it's also for another spiritual tour. So I don't want to even go to spirituality. So let's just go straight to the river.
Okay.
Their time is up for them to go through their last bath. Everywhere they were captured in chains and shackles, they were made to walk through this particular path onto the slave river. Whilst they're going through this path, some of them will be crying, some of them will be praying to be forgiven, and some of them will be having injuries all around them. But they were still made to walk to the slave river to take their last bath. So most often at times, this particular path that you see, which was developed by the feet of our ancestors, we do go through this path with our shoes always off.
Okay. So walking the ancestral path. Hi, ancestors. Thanks for always protecting me.
I told you we don't have a much time because you have to drive 1 hour 20 minutes drive back to the Cape Coast Dungeon, and it's also getting late. So I'll just tell you something that we do here, because I always say that when it comes to the history, it's something we could always find everywhere. But when it comes to the spirituality aspect of us, it's something that this river is a very big river because we are in the dry season. Everything is drying, so the rivers are drying up. Now what we do is that when you get to the river, you go into the river. The first thing you do is to cleanse yourself. You cleanse yourself from negative energy. You release all the negativities to your ancestors. Tell them, all this part of me, I can't carry any longer. So I'm just giving it to you to carry for me. So every wash you do, you have to release something to the river. So maybe I release poverty, maybe I release sickness, maybe I release bad luck. Everything that you want to release, you just put all those things in the river. So immediately you put it in the river, we believe that you are now clean. And being clean, you have to start the world again. How do you start? You have to start by opening your eyes, opening your ears, and opening your mouth. So you fetch some of the water. First, you wash. But with you, maybe you could just wash your face and fetch another water and you wash your eye. When you wash your eye, you pray to see, depending on whom you believe in. So you pray to see. I don't know what you want to see. You know what you want to see. Tell them what you want to see. Maybe you want to see our ancestors closer. Tell them. You fetch the water, you wash your eye, you wash your ears. You pray that whenever they speak to us, it should be very clear and for us to understand what they say to us. But you could get all the information right. But when you are not able to bring it out rightly, it becomes an issue. So you bless your mouth and you pray that whenever you open your mouth, it should take the lead. I don't know where you want to open it, whether in your workplace, whether in your academics, whether in your spirituality, you tell them. So after telling them, then the next ritual is about you exhibiting your spirituality and commanding things to stand still. So this is what you do. Every part of you that you feel some sickness, fetch some of the water, use it on that part, and you speak to that part that, hey, you have to get ill now, which you will get ill soon. That's how it is. After that, we are too much because we don't have time. We come together and we wish ourselves well. So I look at you, I tell you what I wish for you, you tell her what you wish for her, and we wish ourselves well. When we're done with it, the last one is where I come in with a special leaf. I give it to you. Each one of you puts your wishes and aspirations on it. And when you're done, you leave it on the water to flow. We believe that your guardian angel will just pick it and read everything that you've written in order for him to answer it. So those are some of the routine rituals that we do. But as I said, everything that I do here is not binding on anyone. So you tell me to do it or not to do it. So what are we doing? Are we doing it?
Yes. I have two.
Yes, wait. She has a question.
Okay, so I have two questions. So from here to last bath, they walked, and I know we're driving an hour and 30 minutes. They walked all the way to the castle?
Yes, 38 miles to Cape Coast Dungeons, 43 miles to Elmina Dungeons, and 57 miles to Port Amsterdam. Still in chains and shackles.
And then my next question is, the first bath, the return,
and the last bath of the day.
Yes.
The last bath.
So is this for like people who come in back? Okay.
So she has a beautiful question and she wanted to answer herself. Okay, so
No.
This is it. The last bath. What do you think about it? The West. The West looks scary. The last bath. Is it really the last bath? That is what they thought of us. Door of no return. It means you're never coming back. Last bath. It means no one will ever step in here. But we just want to tell them that for us, you don't dictate for us. We are seed. Everywhere that you plant, we're going to germinate. So this last bath is not our thing. So when we come in here, we go through rituals without passing through this. We pass behind that, do all our rituals, and come out for the first bath of return. In order to tell the world that they thought it was supposed to be this. But for them, we are telling them, nah, this is it. So whenever you come in here, you are coming at the first bath. So the rituals that we do brought about the first battle of return. So, not much time.
And go.
Do you have? Okay.
Yep. That's a good picture.
Okay, excuse me, please. Just go a little bit to this side so that. Okay, so you come. Asked to give some offer to your donation in order to maintain the site. But in here, the money from this wall is not to maintain the site. It is to support the community and make it grow. In here, it is a deprived community, and we realize that what can the company do to support the community? It is all about education. So the company have a scholarship scheme that supports the people in this community. And this scholarship scheme, previously people were giving donations to have the names written on this wall, but others were making good of it. So the government decided that because of accountability, a line like this will be given to you, and you pay something to have your name written on this wall. Paying very, very expensive, 100 Ghana cedis to have your name written on this wall. Basically, our time is far-fetched because you have to go to Cape Coast. But I say, when you come to Ghana, there is one thing that you should do. Adjoa, right? Yes, so Adjoa.
Wait, how'd you know? I didn't tell you.
Yes, well, you told me, you forgot it.
I didn't tell you.
You told me.
No, Cleo.
I told you. This is my sister. We're both
Yeah,
Adjoa.
you're okay.
We're both Adjoa.
Okay, so you are Adjoa Kakraba.
The little one.
He called you Adjoa.
Yes. So that is how we differentiate that Adjoa Kakraba and Adjoa Penny. So Penny means the eldest.
Adjoa Penny.
So I said, Adjoa, you know, when you come to Ghana, there's one thing that you should do, and there's one thing that you should never do, which goes for all of you here. The only thing you should do when you come to Ghana is to chill, okay? Chill, have fun, but you make sure you don't freeze.
You don't
Freeze, yes.
What do you mean?
You freeze.
So everything that you do, it should be in moderation.
Oh, in moderation.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the more you do it, you go overboard, and so you always have to make sure you're always in there. That's all. So you chill, but you don't freeze.
Okay. Okay. Oh.
Makes sense.
Adjoa, can you put on your shades? Let me see it. Yeah, I want you to pose it. Pose for me. Let me take. Come on, give me it. Let me take a picture. It took.
So it's the wall of return. Can you sign it?
Yes,
I'll come back and sign it when I return.
Let's have a special pose for this picture.
Video.
Okay, so you all join. I'm going to take you the first picture, then I'll come and add myself to it. Or you want to be the paparazzi?
George E. Ferguson, Malcolm X, Queen Nanny, George Padmore, Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, and plenty more.
Yeah, don't forget my name.
Elmina Castle. Let's save dungeon. The water over there.
You want to listen?
I forgot what this is called, but that's the Portuguese church, if you guys didn't know. They're the ones who started like Christianity and everything.
And they said that to be a savior. So on 29th August, 1637 precisely, the Dutch came back. And this time they succeeded. Surprisingly, when the Dutch took out the castle, they were the whites. They also continued the slave trade. So the Dutch were at the time when the slave trade was abolished in 1807 in all the British colonies. But those here, they never stopped. They were doing it illegally. In 1814, the Dutch also came out and started the trade. The later on, the Dutch sold the whole castle here to the British in 1872. And they left to Northern Sumatra, Indonesia. But then there's no name, British they did. They also took a greater portion. But they were here for about 3 months. 3 months of danger. And when the ships arrived, they moved them to the final door, called the Gate of No Return. Now you may ask me, how did they go the Africans? Who were them here? We have 4 ways of getting the Africans. 1, we are the forced capture. 2, we are the kidnapping and raiding. 3, we are theft and deceit. Finally, we have the barter or the barter system. Now let me explain again. People say, oh, it is the African who sold their brothers and sisters. No, that's on the beginning. In the beginning of the Europeans, who were catching Africans at the gunpoint. In the beginning it was the Europeans who were capturing Africans at a gunpoint. But it's very difficult to get the Africans. So they have to do something by lacing with some of the African greedy chiefs. Because now with them they're getting on the Africans. Now before the Europeans came in, slavery was in the system in Africa. And if the right were to be used, we call them indentured servants. They were not slaves, but rather they were servants. It's very difficult to differentiate between a free man and a servant. Simply because they all do everything together. They eat together, sleep together, share everything together. So when the Europeans came in, they influenced the chiefs to sell those servants for them. Then they became like a slave in the dungeons. Now the question goes like this. If the Europeans are not come to Africa, where will those servants be? That's the question I'm asking. If the Europeans have not come to Africa, where will those servants be? They will be in Africa, right? Go. So we concluded by saying that the trans-African slave trade was a creation by the foreigners. It was a creation by the Europeans. You look at it?
No, can you say that one more time?
I was saying the trans-African slave trade was a creation by foreigners. It was initiated by the foreigners.
Okay.
Yes. We don't have any slave, but we are servants. For example, if I'm owing you, I can ask my son or my daughter to work for you for a period of years. That he or she come back as a free person. So when the Europeans came here, they influenced such people. Come on, let him work for me. Then they were taken far away from Africa. From the promised African a better life in a foreign land. So people gave their daughters and sons up to be educated. When they got there, they never came back again. In 1637, when the Dutch came to Gold Coast, something happened in Porta region. They asked the local people who were there to entertain in the ship. And when they got in the ship, they gave them drinks. And when they got drunk, they were taken far away from Africa. So others have an idea that Africans were deceived.
Oh.
Good. Those Africans were deceived. Now, at a point in time, the castle can hold a minimum of 1,000 slaves. Not a minimum, it could be more. But I'll leave it the minimum was 1,000. The men were 600 and the women 400. So the castle as it stands today is 540 years. 540 years old.
500.
Now, Portuguese faith, they spent 155 years here. The Dutch were for 235 years. The British, 85 years. And Ghanaians, they're only 65 years when they took out the castle. And we are still counting. And I believe we'll catch up. We'll catch up. So I did a brief history about the castle. So I said earlier, if you have any questions, please we will share it. If you have no questions, go through the dungeons and see how they survive in the dungeons. And you know, we can't use 1 hour to tell the whole story today. We can't use 1 hour
Okay.
to tell the whole story. Yeah, the whole story captured, put the pieces together in a book and the DVDs. So after you get a copy of the book or the DVDs, when you go back, share the histories of our friends over there.
Okay. And what's this part called again? What's this area called?
Courtyard.
The,
The courtyard, called the
courtyard.
male courtyard.
Okay.
The male courtyard.
the male courtyard?
Yeah, male courtyard.
Oh, yeah, and the women's courtyard is back there, I remember.
And one was asking a question, what do they do over here? You ask the question.
Yeah, like what? It was a big space,
Good.
so yeah.
You see, anytime the government wants to address the soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
you see the top there, that the government balcony is still there, so he addressed the soldier down here.
He addressed
the
them.
soldiers. He speak the soldiers. So we'll be there then. He addressed the soldiers.
The Dutch soldiers.
The Dutch soldiers.
Oh.
How many slaves would they have in this one area?
The biggest one female, the bigger one contain 150. 150 in one room. The male dungeon, the biggest one contain 200.
And I remember another Jamestown, and they said like half of the slaves would lay down to sleep, and then half of them would stand because there were so many in there.
There's not enough
Times
room.
that it was terrible. When you see this with that 150 people were occupied, you cry. Then you ask yourself, were they sleeping? Were they squatting? Were they lying on top of one another? Good question. Mm-hmm. So we are starting from the female
Yes, sir.
dungeon first. So we'll go there and see how they survive in the dungeons. So please,
Yep.
let's move forward.
I think I'm gonna start the DVD.
Okay, yeah, we gotta climb up.
Can I help you?
Oh, you don't even get to. You have to come back so we can go through the door. I think I've been through it. Now we're going to. You ready? Come on, we only have an hour, so you're not gonna be able to get to see everything if we don't move fast.
Let me see if we have enough space.
Oh yeah, I remember this. I think this was a part of the male dungeon of the alleyway.
Okay, now let's go to the next second.
Heavy, man. I don't know. I'll have to go back and find my other videos. Oh, people burn gifts.
So these are the dungeons. There were 8 separate dungeons for the female captives. They're the biggest of the largest. And at this small space, about 150 women were held here. 150 women in this room for 3 months. No place of convenience, no toilet, nothing. So empty containers were placed at the corners for them where they can ease themselves. But because the long from the hinterland, so let's say they walk more than 1,000 miles away from the coast. The sick and the weak were left in the forest at the mercy of wild animals. The few that survived 1 to 3 months, they became so weak So they compared to doing everything on the floor. They defecated over here, urinated everything. They were fed, they were given food, but something small to sustain them. Some ate and some refused to eat. And those who refused to eat, they had a metal called a mouth opener. Put the metal into the mouth, then they open their jaw so that they can easily feed them. Now, there were doors here, they mentioned they shut the two doors, close the two doors over here. There are metal by this way, so put them vertically and horizontally. It's the only ventilator for them, for ventilations. Again, on my right, we have another big one up there. It also serves as another ventilation. The same one that is being connected to another dungeon called a magazine, where they kept ammunition or weapons. Anytime there was leakages, the toxic or the bad air came in here, polluted the air, and when they inhaled it killed most of them. Now when they died, they were not getting any proper barrier. Rather, they were chained together and down in the sea. I said they were for 3 months. And we want to warn everyone they have a special time. We are going to their menstrual roster. But they don't have to shower now. We can manage more. We are thinking of billions of people that perish, but nothing has been said about the slave trade. Now you may ask me a quick question. If the idea is to make profit, or they want to put away for them, why then they not treat them well? They have reasons for doing that, but 3 reasons. One, when they bought the slaves, they insure them. Insurance. So after when they die, they will get a replacement. 2, they want the strong people who can work on the plantations. So they are taking through some tests, the survivor of the fittest. Finally, they say when they feed them, well, they will grow bigger and strong, and they will try to revolt or to fight back. So it's a way of keeping them weak so that they can control them. They break them and spread so that they can control them. And the reasons that they gave. So this is the story behind this room. Please continue outside again. If you have any questions, let's continue outside.
The slaves were insured. Who insured them?
The man, you see, at the time when the African chiefs connect with them, that is where they insured with some of the chiefs. Some of the chiefs. So when they die, I'll get a new one. I'll get a replacement.
So are you saying that the chiefs were part and parcel of replacing people that died?
That is when they will have the influence. When they really influence them, lure them to their camp. Yeah, this is what they ask you to do. It got to the time the chief will ask, either you become a slave or you give us a slave. Choose one. Either you give me a slave, or you and your family become a slave. So choose one. So maybe you have to wage a war against your opponent or against other tribe. Making sure you win the war so that you and your family be free.
So, did some of the chiefs end up becoming slaves, like after all of this?
That is why they were fighting among other tribes. I don't want to be a slave, so come on, let me win a war so that I'll be free. But no chief.
No chief became?
Yes. But it got to time some of the chiefs were kidnapped by the Europeans themselves.
Oh.
Sure. Some that were kidnapped by the Europeans themselves.
By who themselves?
The
By
Europeans. So they probably were, eventually. Y'all.
It could be more, what could be less.
Wait, you said how many?
60 to 100 million.
60 to 100 million.
The Africans with them. And the 22, there was a
Study.
conference held in Haiti. Did the figure they were quoting. Excluding those who died in the forest.
And then we said they were enclosed.
And down here is a system built by the Portuguese. This was the only source of water they used at that time. They used rainwater to fill the system, rainwater. So there are plants all over the place. Anytime it rains, they have the water to fill the first one on my right. Then it was filtered later to the second one. When full, it contains 20,000 gallons of water. Cover the whole area here. But you know, when the Dutch took over the castle because of fear, the Dutch never use this water. They thought maybe Portuguese might have poisoned the water. So they went outside and built a different one. But research proved that this water is a clean water. Today, it's from mosquitoes. To avoid malaria, let me quickly just to avoid malaria. Now, this with the history is very sad, but need to be told. You know, when the Europeans came here, they never got their wives. It's only the men who came here to rescue their life. And they stay here longer without women. So the governors, the soldiers, the priests and the merchants sexually abuse the women in the dungeons here. They rape our women. But the governor, anytime he wanted to pick a lady, he still have there called the governor back on him. He saw the gentleman ordered, they brought the woman outside. And that was the only day the woman were allowed to see the sunlight for 3 months. The only time they would see the sunlight, some were partially blind. He lives to make the choice. Now the woman selected by the governor could have been here for so many months without taking a bath. And she needed to be washed or clean. The fresh water from here, then they want the lady. The water which they thought could have been poisoned is now good for the woman. Initially they said the water here was bad, but they fed the same water to clean the woman. After the shower, she was in the governor's residence. Let's see the place.
So they washed her up there because she was very upset.
Yes. So did the staircase for the women, the chosen one, they forced them to the top there. And after the rape, you have to come back. As you were descending down, the soldiers at times took advantage. They also lay hands on them, but they used them till they died. Now when the ships came, they screened the women, they examined the ladies. And those who got pregnant were sent to the town or the village. And they built houses for them, called the stone houses. They were living there. When they delivered, they brought the women back to the dungeons. You were still a slave. Now the babies at the age of 5-6 years, they were brought back to the castle that they were taken through formal education. They gave their names to those children. And this explains more reason why along the coast of Africa, Ghana here today, we had the mulattoes or the mixed race. And we had still have people bearing European names. We had names like Vieira, Dier, D'Souza, Compson, Van der Poel, Van Dyke, just to mention a few. And these children, because of the nature of their color, they also feel superior. And they look down upon Africans. And this brought disunity among African countries. Divide and rule, divide and conquer. You know, they have been brainwashed. So they are always in the father's side, forget their mothers are Africans. But in the song, the women resisted, they refused to rape. And those who resisted, they made sure they punished them. So please, we are going outside again and see the punishment. We'll go there later, so don't worry. So let's continue outside. That they were left at a very hot weather for a whole day. It's very heavy, 25 kg. So if you are chained about, there's no way you can move. Then when you fall, you are gone. So most of the women die through this panic because they are already weak. So when you chained about, there's no way you can move or you can do anything. So yeah, they are doing this to put fears in their brain. Next time, just follow them to their bedrooms. You want to try?
To lift it.
Sure. Try it, see if you can lift it. You roll it back, roll it back first. No, back, roll it back. And now try it.
It's very heavy.
Very heavy. Have you eaten today?
I have.
And I guess you are taking a lot of water.
I have.
Because you can just imagine women who are qualified for a number of months or days. Very simple. So all the room there for the women alone. Now when the ships came, they moved them to the final door, called the gate of no return. So please, we continue again if you don't have any questions. As I was saying, When the ships came, the women were put back into chains again. That's 15 or 20 on a row. They don't need to pass at the final door. Initially, there was a staircase by which they used to descend down. But when the Dutch came here, they destroyed the staircase. So the women were sliding down. They were slided down. But the journey continues. These metal bars was added later to prevent accidents or to avoid accidents. And you know, at times they brought the whole family here, captured the whole family and brought them here. When the ships came, if you are below 10 years, you will be added to one person and they price it as one commodity. Meaning when you buy one, you take one free. So 2 for 1. And the ships were bearing names like God is able, Jesus, liberty, Savior, and so forth. Now you'll be surprised. Up here was a church. By the Daniel was a church. And below the church, that's where the slaves, or they are Africans. Now, at the peak of the slavery, they set a day aside called the Black Friday, which they give a discount to their traders. Now, when America, yes, when the economy of America was in shambles, what happened was they reduced the price of the slaves so that people would buy more, so that they would inject the money into the economy. So the genesis of Black Friday came from slavery. And the Africa, we knew about this history. They don't shop or buy on that particular day. This is, I guess, our tradition, our system, everything. So from here, we are going to see the gate of no return. Please, let's go this way.
Ahima. Is some chains in there? If you want to take a picture of that. I'll go with you. Hold up, I'll go with you. This is the slave exit to the waiting boats. People just came out, but I'm not going in. This is the slave exit to the waiting boats. I don't know, it might be best in there, so I'm not going in there. This must be for ventilation.
You know, I spoke about the branding. You have the slaves were branded. If a small someone there was trying the branding was done, where the slaves were branded. Some use names, letters, alphabet, logos, initials, and so forth. So when the metal is too hot, touching your skin, bring out the fresh. And the metal is hot, touching your skin, bring out the fresh. So some guy do the random. Then the rest of it again. Alright, now there are these two openings here. You see, the left one over here, it slows down. So when it rains heavily, the rainwater falls down more dangerous. Even today when it rains, water still comes in. Even today when it rains, the whole place is flooded.
Oh.
And the journey continues again. So we are the slave exit through the waiting boat. And please, you take a short step down, just a step down. If you have a flashlight, please, you can use your flashlight.
So when it would rain and it would flood, did they remove the enslaved people?
No.
So they would just drown. And then they would replace them.
Not all the time. Not all the time. Honestly, that they replace them. In certain cases.
But even that doesn't seem very economical, if that's what it's all about.
Some even prefer to die in Africa than die in a foreign land. Yes. Some prefer die in Africa than die in a foreign or some other country. Yes, so some embargo hunger strike. Now from my right was where the woman came from. And the men from my left, so this was the night when men and women saw each other for the first time. Please be careful. Yeah. So I earlier said that they brought the whole family, but why they were separated? So when it's 16, it's not 14. The door.
Probably the water was much closer than it is now.
Yeah.
And in the gate of no return, the door of no return. This is the door that is the story, the door that's in the history, door of no return. It is here that Africans no longer respect. They are beginning to cut a language. In those days, the sea was very close after the Catholic time.
Yeah.
But now they are receded. So when the ships came, the ship would go somewhere in a small boat was just brought here. There was a second at that time. They decided to flow into a smaller boat. From there, carried them to the bigger ships. They were totally packed and arranged on deck side by side, like books on shelves. During the main passage, the soldiers are still raping the women, while the men are being tortured. And when they died, they tossed them overboard. Few that survived the damp sent the to Guyana, Suriname, Haiti, Portuguese to Brazil, while the English to Caribbean, West Indies, Bahamas, Jamaica, and they were scattered all over the world. Initially, when they were trading gold, ivory, spice, the gate was bigger than this. From my right here to the left. The water simply started below the gate as we can see today. And seeing the nature of the gate or the size of the door, one may ask, does it mean tall, fat Africans was not brought here the while? But being there for 1, 2, 3 months, you grow lean or skinning, so you fit in. The gate of no return. And today when you go to Cape Coast Castle, the gate over there is bigger than this one. And he named the gate of return. Why the gate of return to Cape Coast Castle? 1998, there was a ceremony held in Ghana called Emancipation Day or the Freedom Day. On that day, 2 skeletons were exhumed, one from Jamaica, one from New York, a male and a female. They flew the 2 skeletons to Accra. Then from Accra, they came to the sea, and the 2 skeletons were brought to the castle. They prayed for them and were reburied. This is very symbolic that the gate of no return had reversed to the gate of return, inviting Africans all over the world back to Africa. But not to the gate today, through Ghana, as Ghana is the gateway to Africa. So when you go to Dakar, the gate over there is bigger than this one. And again, every 2 years, we now have a festival in Ghana called the Panafest, Pan-Africa Historical Charter Festival, to bring all Africans together as one family. During the celebration of the festival, people like you, when they visit the castle, some with the roof over here, some water, drinks, necklace, bangles, just to mention a few, to honor our people, those who died and those who suffered the dungeons, like C.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King Jr., just to mention a few. Now let me highlight on the drinks and the water. You see, before the Europeans came here, Africans have a form of worship. We call it traditional African religion. And Africans believe in everything. We believe in nature. Like the rivers, the trees, the stone, the sun, the sea, and everything. And we believe that there's a spring in those rivers and the trees. So we pour libation.
Yes.
And we don't use glass or whatever, but then we use calabash. Yes. You fill the calabash with palm wine. The early morning, you go to the river, whatever you want the river to do for you. You know, wear shoes or sandals, then you pour the libation. And we do it on the day one is born, not the date, but the day. So I was born Tuesday. So if my mom or my dad want to invoke the spirit, they go there early in the morning before sunrise. Then they pour it. And again, Africans believe that God is a man and the earth is a female. So we call it Kwame Chediampo. So you shoot the wine to Kwame Chediampo. Then you pour it. And we believe that the earth was born Thursday. So we call it Ya. So assassin Ya Chinsano. This was the form of practice we were practicing before the European came here. So when the European came, they brought the Christianity and said, come on, African, do away with your religion. Then gradually, our religion started fading out. They are faded. And when it comes to Ghana today, about 70% of the population are Christians and 30% are Muslims. But the rest, I don't know where they fall. So this is a form of practice we had before the European came here. Not that the European who taught Africa how to worship God. No. We knew God. We knew God before the European came here. So today, since you are here, I don't know if you want to pour libation. If you want to pour libation, I will guide you to do it. Yes, I don't know.
We all know how to pour libation.
Is it? You don't know
We
how
all pour libation.
Yes, but we should.
You all pour libation.
Yes, but somebody should pour libation
Good.
here.
So I want a person. Oh yes. You are in sandals. If mommy is also in sandals, so one person can. Okay, good. We do this as a sign of respect to our ancestors. That's why when I go to pour libation, yes. So we take the sinner. Yes, it does it good. Good.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Not a quick body medicinal, not a quick free medicinal, not a free cold medicinal. Oh, none of that's for y'all medicinal.
Yeah.
I like one mochi bar. Excuse me. Mommy water. Mochi. I like one mochi bar, multiple mochi bar, ogo mochi bar, osho mochi bar, oloko mochi bar, ojosi mochi bar, yeme yam mochi bar, watala mochi bar. Nana Oyeni, medicinal. Nana Komplani, Kuya Parabi, medicinal. Nana Ya Parjani Zulu, the first medicinal, and Tisi medicinal.
Yeah.
Please help me.
Yeah.
Nana Abena Bakan. A comfort. Mia Busia, Deborah Jean Green. Everybody else, come on. Say the name.
Maple syrup, love,
To all of the positive ancestors, to all of the ancestors that were here before.
Governor Texan. This governor here, he was the last Director General of West Indies Company. The man came from Zeeland. Zeeland is one of the provinces in Netherlands. The governor arrived here 16th of January, 1758. He died on 12 March the same year, at the age of 41. He spent just 3 months over here. And he died through a confirmed malaria parasite. You know, did a grave, he was buried here. There was a resident pastor at that time called A. Andresen. This Anderson, he came from Zealand, the small village in Zealand where the governor came from. He buried him. After the burial, he wrote something small about a man in the form of a treatise. The pastor said, this governor here was a good man. He was humble, honest, hardworking, and God-fearing. He fears God. He was good. He was good. At the time of slavery, somebody being a good man, it was the pastor who knows, and he could answer. So the body is lying down here. Now, in early part of 1992, there was a ceremony held in Ghana called Fihankra. Fihankra.
Bianca.
Good. Fihankra simply means when our people were going, they never had a chance to say goodbye to their friends. After the ceremony, some chiefs of Africa, they came together, led by one Nana Udro and Nyompa II. They went to the United States, precisely New York, had a long discussions with the leaders in diaspora to bring all the Africans together as one people. When they came back, they brought a plaque. Let's get closer to the plaque. So this is what they brought. And to we the Africans, as we walk through the dungeons today, it ought to be in a code. In everlasting memory of the anguish of the suffering of our ancestors. Those who
This is where the slaves who tried to revolt were brought, and they were starved and tortured. So this is for the soldiers.
were locked for a few hours, then they released them. Few hours, I repeat. You know, did the original door in 2 windows. You can see the place is very airy because of their own people. So no black or slave was brought in here. Now we are coming out again, see the next one designed for the Africans and see what happens over there. Please, you are safe, you cannot come out. You cannot come out. Now before you go there, just compare the doors and the symbols. You can see the doors are different than symbols as well. Before we go, the second one, the third black one here was put here about 2 or 3 years ago by the African Genesis Institute. So we are the children of those who refuse to.
The drinks that people are leaving, are they leaving them for their ancestors?
The bottles.
The bottles, the drinks.
Uh-huh.
The drinks, are they leaving them for the ancestors?
Yes, for the ancestors.
Not.
Now this song, was a sermon for the Africans called the Maroon slaves. The Maroons. And today they are the Ghanaians. Always they want to revolt. So the leader of the group, a captain, brought them here and they were starved to death. They don't feed them, they don't drink till they all die. And at times they kept 30 people in it that is strong at this small space. You can see the cell has no ventilations, so they can breathe. And they died through suffocations. In their chains, in their shackles, they were struggling, splashing the walls until they died. And they called the Africans themselves, pulled all their bodies out into the sea. And that's where the symbol up there, meaning nobody came in here and went alive. See how we are sweating to less than 2 minutes, we're all sweating. So you can imagine if more people were put together. Thank God today we are saved. So please continue proceed. Now these 2 sliding walls over here, they were the additions made by the Dutch called the buttresses or support wall to strengthen the walls, the castle. And the metal bars was added later in 1948 by the British when they used as police training school to keep the men in shape.
Church to slave.
Yeah.
And you said from church to slave?
From church to slave market.
To slave market, and then
From
to
slave
school.
market to school.
And then to museum.
Museum.
So see, just look at this door right here. Look at the door right here carefully and come this way. I'll tell you something.
Oh.
So we have the big hall over here. I earlier said this was the trading hall. So anytime they wanted to buy the slaves, they were scared to get closer to the slaves or to the Africans. So they'll go behind the door, look through these two holes over here, then they point at you. Here's the slave that I want to buy. Then the student will march in here with their chains and then they shackle them. And make sure they were branded for the sons the dancers. Now let's continue again. Let's see some of the shackles and the branded metals.
Some that deal with religious observances combine elements of both traditions.
That's the cloth I literally was trying to buy yesterday.
This one? This one?
That one, my grandma said she was gonna buy it for me. She bought it for me.
It's big. Ooh, Jesus.
Gosh, they used slave labor to build this castle. They used Africans to build this castle. Dungeon. Oh, there is the moon. I don't even know if I can see my brightness is down.
Meba. 1 second. 1 second, Meba.
Sunset starts at 6.
Huh?
Oh, what time is
It's
it?
5:16.
Yeah, sunset will be soon.
That's what I'm saying. Like this. I mean,
The cannons. Me and RJ took pictures over there.
you've been here before?
Huh?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had Nicole here.
Oh yeah, you did say that. You did say
Hey.
that. You showed this thing. No, Steven. Hey, get those vultures if you can. There's 3 of them, and it kind of means something to me if you could.
Okay. Meba.
Meba.
Yeah. Oh.
What'd you say?
Okay, so here is where the master and like some soldiers used to hang out. So I just want you guys to really note the difference. Note the difference of how they get sunlight, how they get the exposure, how they get the nice views, how they just get way more opportunity. We're locked down in the basement, in the gutter, don't get no sunlight, don't get no water, don't get no food. And those are real cannons. And basically, like, they had to fight pirates and, you know, war, like, if people wanted to steal the land. So that's really what this is for. But just note that, like, they really did us dirty as fuck.
They have paintings.
Where's the drum?
Right here.
Oh, no, I wasn't.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever been on that side.
So when the guys were going finally, they opened the Holy Bible, came on this double place. They gave the book of Psalms, Psalm 102, verse 14. And 14 was written all over.
Does it say?
Zion is the Lord eternal resident place forever. Zion is the Lord eternal resident place forever.
They're building a harbor.
I got it, Tiff.
female captives. So I don't just God was found come out in the hell of the name.
They had no
African down there screaming.
fucking remorse.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was just about to say. I bet you every time somebody mentions the spirit, if they ancestors.
Church over top of a female dungeon. Two slaves. They're really over the slave dungeon.
Up below the kitchen, female slave dungeons. So when it's set the fire, all the heat goes back to the dungeons. The heat is going to release the dungeons to make it more hotter. So when the dungeons are hot inside, this way the government stands to select the woman. You came and look through the woman. You choose from the group. They wash her first. They through the trap door. And this the church on the same level, but then they don't care. This the church. Now let's see the trap door where the woman came out.
Streets at in front of the danger. I'm not from this town. I'm from the Cape Coast. So I moved here 2002 to get an plot here. In 2006, I came here to start the project. So this is the home. We are renting a home here. This is the house that the children live. Whatever the children eat, the same food that I eat. And if you ask me how many children I have, I would say 21 or 22 children. I call them as my children. I don't live separate. Yes, and they are from all over the village. Some of them from Cape Coast and everything. And also we have a school. Since that I have a home, we have a school and a school service about 5 communities around our community that you pass by. Some of them come to the school here, and my school is for free. They don't pay anything.
Oh,
from
good.
Nursery to grade 9, and I have 15 teachers that I pay them. And a home, I cannot work alone, so those are working with me here. And trying use the one that ED is talking about. She's the one at the university.
She got accepted at the university.
Yeah, congratulations!
Now she's going to school on 15th is Saturday. And probably Monday she'll go to school. And when you go to school, you're already in there. So when he come back from the school, every time she get it from the school, he come to the school to teach as well. So for her, she don't accept pay, and she's doing for volunteer. Yes, and also the teachers who work there, I pay them, and half of them is volunteer, and she's the one, and her she'll cook for the children, and the IT person is standing there. It's called AMPA. Yeah, so the laptop and everything, he work on it. And when it's Monday and Tuesday, we are going to set the computer lab. And as soon as I set it, I will show you the pictures where the children are using. So that's the background of the home and everything. And feel free if you have some question you can ask. If you don't have any question, I know your time is up.
Can I take a picture of the kid?
Oh, of course, you can feel free.
In what school?
She's in the Poly, like the second university. That's the technical university. So she's doing she did the home econs at the school, and now she's doing something about hotel management.
Oh, nice.
So she also helped when it comes for the cooking and everything. She do for the party. The Christmas party that I sent.
Okay, so we stopping in Gecko's, and we're at one African restaurant. This is Amiko's restaurant. It's really nice. This is the view at nighttime. The ocean is by, but you can't get in. It's really dangerous. Okay, so this is the one African, and this is just the outside. Ahima, where'd Ahima go? Oh, okay. This is Tina, I think. wish you guys could see in the daytime. It's so pretty. I may post my old vlog in 2019 so you guys just can see. There's the ocean. It feels so good over here. Clear.
You see it clear? You smell it, girl.
What you guys doing, huh?
Throwing rocks, taking pictures and stuff.
They said this is Mommy Water, Kofi. This is Mommy Water.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. There's no light. This area,
Yeah.
this camera has to be because it has to focus.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold you. This breeze is making my stomach feel a whole lot better. Anybody find a crystal?
A what?
Crystal?
Yeah, most of these are crystal.
I was thinking so. Is this one a crystal?
Most of these are crystal. Matter of fact, all of these are.
Because this one looks like a crystal, and I'm gonna take it with me. Oh, I want that one. Pass me that one. And so, no, the other one.
Which one?
Keep going. That one.
This one?
Yes.
I like that you know what you like, girl. She said, no, that's irregular. Sorry. Yeah, that one's got some.
This one's nice. It got rose quartz in it, I believe. Let me see.
Yo, what's
that
that?
one? That's
Beautiful.
nice.
Where'd you find that one?
Is that like onyx or something?
They're really nice crystals. I'm taking this home. Putting it right on my shrine.
Y'all see it that you like? Hope you found one you like?
No.
I'm taking this big old
Let me
one.
call you.
My mom don't like that one.
I want which one?
This
That
one.
one's kind of nice. That one's like really like. What did they say they called it? They called it. We will figure it out later. It smells so good. Nah, for real. Like.
Thank you guys for watching and learning some Black history in actual Africa. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot from this video. Subscribe, like, and